Yay, we're all here. So I think that David and I can say this. Both of us are really lucky to work for some awesome organizations that do a lot of diversity work, and also have the opportunity to work with some of the top creatives in advertising. It's very inspiring to look at these amazing leaders, some of them who have spoken here already, some who have spoken for 3% in the past, the Nancy Vonks, the Janet Kestens, the Janet Champs. They inspire all of us. But one of the things that we're doing a lot of work for is the future. And that got David and me thinking about, well, what's the next wave like? Who are these women, and why aren't we talking about them? Because these are the women that are actually going to be the leaders of tomorrow. These are the women whose work is changing the award show industry, and these are the women who are actually actively involved in making the creative industry better. So we decided that we would work together so that we can introduce you to some of them. And these are 4 of 10 of the next creative leaders. They're awesome. This Daphne Garber from Crispin Porter and Bogusky in LA. Nisha Tweed from Facebook. Tara Lawal from Droga 5. And Jessica Coulter from BBDO New York. And in case you guys don't know about Next Creative Leaders, we put together a little video to let you know what that initiative is and how it started. Can you play the video now?
Next Creative Leaders was born over a stolen lunch break in New York City, when 2 Twitter friends from opposite coasts decided to meet in real life. They were inspired by their 2 respective organizations and the role they were playing in shaping a creative future that was more diverse, more successful, and of course, more creative. But they also shared a hope and an excitement for what this diverse future looked like, and all the great things it meant for our industry at large. So they teamed up to share that excitement with the world. With the support of the 3% Conference and One Club's leadership teams, the help of their awesome creative communities, and the wisdom of industry visionary Nancy Vonk, they made it their mission to track down and honor the 10 future faces of creativity. 10 up-and-coming female creatives who were doing killer work and doing their part to leave our industry better than they had found it. On May 5th, 2015, to kick off Creative Week, we introduced the world to its next creative leaders. The social spheres buzzed, their agencies beamed, but most importantly, the women, their work, and their wisdom saw the spotlight. Turns out, the creative world is as excited about our future as we are.
So as you can kind of gather from this, one of the things that we really want to do here is make sure that you guys know, as agencies, as recruiters, as in-house people that are trying to grow this amazing talent and trying to innovate towards the future, wanted to hear from the women who are actually the people that you want to hire, what it takes to recruit, grow, and retain the top creative talent in the industry that also happens to be female.
Daphne. How are you this morning?
I'm good, how are you?
I'm doing great, man. Glad to be here with all these people. They look happy. They look like they're rocking it out. So, just getting right down to it. You were one of the first creatives hired at CPB LA, and you've been a huge part of building and growing that office. Can you describe the culture you helped create, and in what ways it has impacted creative output?
Sure. One of the things that I think is one of the things I like best about CPBLA is that when me and the other creatives that were out there and the rest of the departments started building the Los Angeles office, it was exciting because it was CPB and it had lots of resources and offices, but it was like a small community of people who wanted to take a bit of a risk and be really close to the stuff they were making and work together to do it. And so as we've grown and doubled and doubled and doubled, it's the collaborative spirit, the creative spirit has been something that I've really liked, and that's why I've stuck around so long. The core of like working together from all these different mediums, so many different departments, like we have somebody there who makes robots. It's It's great. And so the thing that I like about our culture is just working together and knowing what people are excited about, what people are interested in, and being able to like maximize that for the work that we're making. Because if we know each other that well and we know each other's strengths, it allows us to make better work, I think.
Yeah. And when you know people's strengths and you're developing a culture where younger creatives can thrive and grow, what do you think the most important things are there?
Other than snacks, probably just working together, collaborating closely, not letting people kind of fall off. It's a tight-knit group, and even as we've grown, we know everybody, we know what everybody's working on, and so it's kind of hard to like disappear and be invisible. And so I think something that young creatives have really benefited from is just working with the more senior members of the department, but also other department people at all different levels. And I think the younger talent has like really thrived and gotten more well-rounded and integrated just by being part of this like great kind of community of like accountability and support.
And so once you've created that, how do you get creatives to stay engaged?
I think just keep doing it. Keeping people inspired and bringing good opportunities to the table, and knowing what people want to be working on, and sharing the things that like we're excited about in the world, like not even just at work, from the internet, from culture, and communicating in a way that I think everybody feels like heard and understood, and it doesn't matter what level, like they are heard, and their voices are important, and their style is like honed and grown, and I think that's pretty exciting for a young creative.
Thank you.
Awesome. Nisha, hello. Nisha, like me, you are an agency defector. You are now Facebook side. When we spoke to you for the article, you were actually making the decision to go freelance after an 8+ year career as an agency copywriter, ACD. And now you are full-time creative at Facebook, New York. So I'm just curious, what made you decide to go freelance? And then what made you decide to go full-time at Facebook?
The decision to go freelance was, I think, more of a personal thing than a professional thing. After having worked nonstop since I was like 15 years old, especially working in New York and wanting to push myself and do more and be more, I had gotten to a point, and I'm sure like a lot of people can relate to this, where you've put in so much time and energy into a company and into your work, where you start wondering, well, you know, why am I here? What am I doing? Who am I? What does this all mean? And I needed to take a second to sit back and kind of, for one, regroup and recollect myself, as well as to go back and look at, okay, well, what do I really want to be doing? What's going to make me happy? Like, I had a couple of meetings with career coaches and made a lot of Venn diagrams and lists and all this type of stuff to help me figure out, well, what is it that's best for my skills and my passions. And I also wanted the opportunity to work on stuff that I really cared about and stuff that I wanted to do. So I did a lot of just like either pro bono work or work with nonprofits or different things that were just like, I'm passionate about this, and I'm going to focus all of my time on this. And I also planned a wedding, so that is a full-time job in and of itself. And then the decision to go to Facebook, it kind of came at a point where I wasn't even really looking for anything exactly, and I had an agency creative director position available, and I had this Facebook creative strategist position available. And they were both like, oh my God, this is kind of what I want, when you look at what all the benefits and opportunities were there. And I kind of picked Facebook because it was different. It was what scared me. It was what felt like, gosh, I don't know if I could do this. So I needed to prove that to myself.
Awesome. I think that we've talked a little bit about this yesterday, about a lot of women going freelance and doing that during the time when they're getting married or having children, and even just choosing that because, like you said, like wanting to work on work that inspires you, wanting to have a little more autonomy, or wanting to do pro bono work, or kind of making your own path because you're feeling a little burnt out. So I'm wondering, do you have any advice for either the agencies here or in-house creative people that are looking to maybe hire back people who have decided to go freelance because they're really awesome and they want them to be part of their team?
Make it worth our while. Like, it can't just be about money. It needs to be about benefits. I need to feel like I'm going to grow, I'm going to be developed, I'm going to have something there that I can say, not even just that I own this, but I helped build this. Because as a freelancer, you're your own boss, you're your own agency, you're doing everything on your own anyway. So, you as a company now have to give me a little bit more meat to survive. And especially after you go freelance and you realize that you're not going to starve to death, it's kind of like then, okay, so make me see what the real benefits are and make this a long-term investment for both of us.
Great.
Hey, Tara.
Hello, David.
How are you today?
Good.
Sweet. So you helped start and run the internship program at Droga, and you also teach at Miami Ad School. You credit those young creatives with teaching you how to be a better creative and manager. Can you talk about being a mentor, and has that made you better at your job?
Sure. So the internship at Droga 5 started out very casually. I was walking to the kitchen with Ted Royer, the CCO, and his assistant, Tori Nygren. And he said to Tori, like, oh, when we get food, like after meetings, can you email all the interns first so they can have first dibs to the food? And she was like, what interns? And I was like, he's like, we don't have interns right now? And she's like, no. And I was like, oh, I was like, you want some interns? I can get you some interns. It's not a big deal. So, because I was teaching at Miami Ad School at the time, and I basically just reached out to them and said, we want to start a program at Droga. Can you start sending interns? So they have a system over there that's very set up. So every 10 weeks, we get either between 2 and 6 new interns, just based on how much space we have at the time. And me and my partner on the project, Felix Richter, sort of just go through the books and then bring people in to interview them. And then in the past 2 years, we've done it, and we've hired 6 of them, which was pretty great. And so from that, it kind of just shows, it helped. I was a senior creative when I started this process, and it helped show me as a leader within the agency, which was very valuable in trying to move up. And also just from working with young creatives and teaching, you start to really train yourself on how to be a creative director, because it's very different to be a creative than to be a creative director. And sort of what's been really interesting to me is how to motivate people, how to inspire people, how to get the most out of them, how to put the pencil down and have them do the writing has been a big challenge. And through teaching and the internship program, it just kind of came very seamlessly. Learn as you go.
Yeah. Is there one specific person who maybe taught you more than you realized at the time when you were working with the interns?
I think it was more from teaching, because there's kind of like your neck's not really on the line when you're teaching, whereas when you're a creative director, it kind of is. It's kind of like, well, if they drop the ball, then I have to pick up the ball and hold the ball.
Yeah.
Ball analogy. But with teaching, it's kind of like you can let them fail a little easier, and you can kind of, then it helps. What did you ask me? I'm answering just totally other questions.
I was
What
wondering
am I
if there
saying?
was one specific instance where maybe someone you were teaching or a new intern
Okay.
really taught you something about yourself and about what you were doing at your job.
I'm going to take a do-over.
Yeah. And go.
Okay. Really, it's the students that are the most difficult. So, and figuring out, like, not just writing them off immediately, realizing that, like, how can I take this person who might be really difficult and inspire them? And then that has really taught me the best ways to inspire and get the most out of people, and not to just immediately write them off.
I think that answered the question.
That was better? All right.
Yeah. So in addition to starting the internship program, Droga has invested in other programming aimed at giving junior talent access to senior leadership and keeping them engaged. Can you talk about this and the effect it has on culture for both junior and senior teams?
Sure. Our general manager, Susie Nam, wanted to start a women's initiative, I guess about a year and a half ago, or maybe 2 years ago. And it was all about trying to really figure out more about what this conference is about, trying to figure out what the current issues were at Droga and what were the best ways that we could solve those problems. So as Droga grew very quickly, we learned that the junior women of the agency weren't getting as much access to the leaders of the agency. So I host a podcast series called Skyside Chats. You get it? Cool. Where I basically just interview the heads of the agency as we sit in a kind of an intimate group of junior women at the agency. It's kind of just an excuse for me to ask them really inappropriate questions at work. Like, so David Droga, how did you grow up? And I really get in there. And that has really, it's kind of just started the conversation at Droga, which is, I think, really the first step, and really got people to start realizing there's a problem, kind of starting to look at it. And we're in the sort of beginnings of what we're trying to do, but yes.
Thank you.
Is there a certain theme that keeps reoccurring with new people that come into the program? Does that make sense? Like, you get the new person that comes in, and of course they say that one thing that you've heard over and over and over again.
I think people, they're surprised at how big a problem it is within the industry. I think that's always is whenever we sort of look at the numbers of people in the agency and sort of look at what is the breakdown female to male in our own agency, people are always really surprised because they like to think, they look around, yeah, we're a very equal agency, and then you look at the numbers and you're like, well, we could be a lot better. So I think if there's one thing that people say when learning about the Women's Initiative, they're surprised at how much it's needed.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Jessica. Hi. Way at the end, we're like talking to each other from across corners.
Awkward.
Let me scoot forward. So when I interviewed you, I was just amazed at your story. You've had some great male bosses who have been incredibly supportive of your career. Obviously, you're very talented. They didn't want to lose you. And you recently became a mother. And you also had a huge life choice to make moving to the West Coast. She still works for BBDO New York, but from Los Angeles. And I just wanted to talk to you, if you could tell a little bit about that story to us. And also, obviously, this really different working arrangement is working out great for you and your family. But I wanted to also hear about maybe the benefits that a little bit different working situation has had for your team.
Yeah. I'm the token mom. What's up? So I've been at BBDO New York for about 6 years, and 2 years ago I made like a human with my body, a lady human. Her name's Minnow, my 2-year-old daughter, and I had very lucky to have the 3 months, which is amazing that's like great luck, but I had 3 months of maternity leave, and I actually took an additional 4th month because I didn't feel ready to go back to work. So I came back after 4 months and found myself crying in the pumping room all the time because I just wasn't ready to leave my baby at home. And I also had, I grew up with a mom that stayed home, and I just had this vision of wanting to be this mom that's really present with my kiddo. And I started having these conversations with women, like other female creative directors at BBDO. Like we'd meet, like we want to meet at 2 p.m. and like pump up the jam, and we'd go in there and like eat snacks and like pump or whatever. And the conversation like always came to like how hard things are, and like what do you wish it was like? Like what's your like dirty little fantasy of what your job would be like? And I'd hear things like, I wish I had, more flexible schedule. I wish everyone understood that at 5, like I've got to go pick up my kid. Like someone has to do it, and I'm the one that has to do it. I wish that I could work Fridays from home. So I just sort of took this conversation and got very close to becoming one of those freelancers. I was like, I could totally do it. We're so lucky as creatives to have something like a definite thing you can like fall back on. and have a flexible schedule. I mean, I was just like ready to pull the trigger, but before I did that, I kind of drew up my fantasy, and my fantasy was to have more help from family and spend pretty much half my day being a creative and half my day being a mom. So not just doing morning and bedtime, I wanted more. So I went to my bosses, Greg Hahn and David Lubar's, and I just laid it out there. I was like, let's get fucking crazy. Like, what if I moved to the West Coast so I could be close to family? What if I worked East Coast hours from there? What if at 3 or 4 every day, everyone else in New York is like eating dinner and doing their thing, and I get to just like be a mom? And they said yes, which was amazing. So we picked up my family and moved to LA, and I worked fully remotely from home, full time for BBDO New York, and it's been amazing for my creative experience because I'm a guilt-free mom, which is not something I think a lot of people feel. I feel completely guilt-free. I am never interrupted. Like, it's amazing. This is a very extreme case of a flexible job position, but I am never interrupted. I'm so focused when I'm there because I know there's like a definite time that I can go and do my mom stuff. And I just want to recognize, like, it's so weird. There's a lot of different types of moms in advertising. So I think when agencies are thinking about how they can keep their mom creatives, I think that every mom's different. A few people made that point yesterday that, like, not every mom wants what I have. Like, there are moms that can't wait to, like, get to the agency at 9 o'clock just so they can, like, have coffee and, like, Google Joe Pesci, because, like, what's he doing right now? Like, that's, like, the fantasy. And it's, like, I completely want to just recognize those moms and then recognize, you know, the women that haven't, you know, don't want to be a mom, but maybe they want to, you know, do a lot of pro bono work, or they want to have a side business, or invent something. I don't know, you know what I mean? Like, just, I think that the way to keep these creative women is to recognize that whether it's a kid or whether it's, for me before I had a kid, I was really into sketch comedy, and I like needed time to do sketch comedy, or I'm just gonna go freelance. So, yeah. Does that answer the question at all?
Yeah, well, it's really good.
The word mom a lot.
I got a couple follow-up questions
Okay.
for you though. So I know that one of the things that I think is in the air, because we talked about this a little bit yesterday with Huge, saying that they have their first part-time creative director, and everyone was like kind of gasped and then clapped. It's like, oh, no such thing as a part-time creative director. I think a lot of times people think that leadership needs to be like a 24-hour job, and there certainly feels like that demand when you're working in this industry. People want to check their phones at 2 o'clock in the morning to make sure that that emergency email hasn't gone through. I guess I'm just wondering, you're a leader, you're a creative director, and now you're working remote from your team. So it's been great for you getting to do this, but what do you think the effect has been on your team? I know that you actually said that in some ways it's been really great because you've been able to cover for other creative directors on shoots in LA and that sort of thing. So I'd love to hear some of the benefits of actually having this alternative schedule for the greater community that you work with.
Yeah, I mean, I know there's a lot of people that help me have this arrangement, that work extra hard. It's a give and take to make it work. But I'm a huge believer in having a job that fits into your life and not a life that fits into your job. So I feel like I'm helping other people set boundaries in that 24-hour style of working that is stupid. I mean, I had a job offer about 5 years ago that would have been a really great fit for me creatively, and I was really like pretty excited about it. And when we got down to like the actual details of the job, I was thinking about starting a sketch comedy group, and I mentioned this to this guy, and I was like, realistically, like, what's, you know, like, how much, like, what are my nights like? Let's just get serious. Like, I'm not gonna pretend that I don't need to, like, leave at 7 a couple times a week or whatever. And he told me, I can promise you one night out of 7 days every week, one night where you can leave at a decent hour. And yeah, I wanted to like make some funny videos and like do sketch comedy, but in the back of my mind, I'm like, you know, pretty soon I also want to have children, and like that shut down that job for me. And what a shame, because it was a great creative opportunity, but it's going to shut down that job for a lot of women, because and any human that has any interest outside work, kids or what, I mean, if you are remotely interesting outside of work, that job is not for you.
And I mean, I think being a creative, you need to be interesting outside of work.
You need to be inspired
That's
outside
where you get
of work.
your ideas from. So one last question for you, and I know we're hitting heavy on the mom thing, but sorry, I'm a little biased and curious on this topic, but you did mention all moms are different, and that's totally true. We were talking about how I'm no earth mama, and all I can think about is having a margarita as soon as I am done with this, but so what's your advice for agencies and corporations, anybody that has working mothers? What are some things that they can do to support the transition back to work and encourage women to still love their job as they become mothers, or even as they take on a side gig that they're happy about, or whatever else they have going on?
Insert whatever you need to do outside of work here. Well, specifically to being a parent, let's do 6 months parental leave. Can we? Should I start like the 97% conference and trick all the suits in here and just like ask on our behalf? We want 6 months. You know, fathers, mothers, everyone should have a little more time, because even at 4 months, which was Luby Tuesday, I like to call him, hope he's not here. But David Lubar's gave me an extra month just because I wasn't ready. Even at 4 months, I wasn't ready. Like I wasn't, at 3 months, you're not even a quarter through the year recommendation for breastfeeding. I mean, I'm like keeping a human alive. It doesn't make sense. I'm not, when I come back to work, I'm not with you fully mentally. And then you're coming back to work as an actual crazy person. And it's really hard to like shake the crazy, man. So I would say start with 6 months. I'd love a year, but I'm not gonna get out of control. But 6 months I think would help people feel a little bit more ready to come back. And then when you come back feeling ready, I just think that baseline is like you're gonna love your job more. And then obviously I think I'm an extreme case of the fact I work from home full time, but I think those kind of flexible hours, opening the mind up to like job share, and it's also, I mean, creatives, we're so lucky. We work in partnerships. My partner recently moved out to LA to be with me because he's like, this is sweet, let's do this. But he has 2 kids and he wanted to see his kids more, which is totally fair. But we were working for 8 months with him in the New York office and me in the LA office in my pajamas. And you don't need physical presence. We're like, the future's now, man. Like, you don't have to be in the office, you just don't. And so recognizing that fact that whatever you're doing outside of work, like we're all grown-ups. I love the idea of unlimited vacation because it's treating us like the grown-ups that we are. You know, you can manage your time. If the work is good, who cares about anything else? If the work is good, clients are happy, that's all that matters.
I agree. Thank you.
You know, one of the really great things about putting together this project at the One Club and with the One Show is that we get to see the next creative leaders of tomorrow. And at my job, you know, I'm working with the creative leaders of today and yesterday. So I'm super happy to be sharing, you know, the next part of my life with you guys, and to see you get to that point, and to still be at the One Club, and to still be giving you guys awards. It's going to be amazing. So thank you. Also, working on this project, since we're able to see the next creative leaders, I think we'd be remiss not to ask them who maybe a junior would be that really inspires you, and who you think might someday be on this stage with us. Daphne, do you want to go first?
Sure. There's a writer at CBBLA, Chelsea O'Brien. Google her. She's awesome. She's great because she's a great writer, has a lot of ideas, but she's like an engine that just goes and goes and goes. Like, because it's, you know, we all know it's not enough to just have an idea. You have to blow out the idea, grow the idea, sell the idea, produce the idea, defend the idea, and that takes a lot of time and a lot of focus and foresight. And she's been great about the projects that we have and the projects that she dreams up. She started an award show for gifts and with some coworkers, and just powered it from like silly idea, like, oh, what if we did that, to like a award show for gifts happening in our office with like lots of amazing partners coming in. And so look for her. She's the bomb.
Awesome.
For me, this was a tough one because I know so many amazing young females. One of them I met last year through the MAPE program, the 4A's Multicultural Advertising Internship Program. And she was actually friends with one of my mentees and was super shy and quiet. She did the internship again this year and was like, hi, I'm speaking up more now. And I was like, look at you, I'm glad that you listened and you're getting better. And then she actually ended up being my mentee this year and decided that after her internship was over, she wasn't gonna go back to Texas. She's gonna stay in New York until she got a job. And it's been about 4 months and she just accepted an offer earlier this week. And as scared and as timid and always questioning herself as she was, I kept pushing her because like that's what I did. Like I packed a suitcase and I came to New York and I was like, this is what's happening. And so I'm not leaving. And so I kept encouraging her and telling her my story and being like, you could do it. And I am inspired by her because her mother kept calling and being like, you should come home. You should come home. Why are you doing this? Come home. And she was like, no, but I want this. And I love that, and I love that spirit of people who are like, I don't give a damn what's happening. I'm gonna sleep on everybody's couch. I'm gonna, I invite her to the Facebook office all the time because we have food for days. And I'm like, come and come in for breakfast, take snacks with you. Do you need some bottles of water? Like, I mean, I'm so impressed by the fact that she's doing this. And I think so many of us are always so scared. We're always like, well, what if this happens? Or what if I fail or whatever? And I learned a couple years ago, just close your eyes, count to 10 and do it. That's it. Stop getting in your own way.
And what was her name? So somebody can poach her
She's
for her new job.
Cynthia Osborne is her name. Yes.
All right, so I have 2 young writers that I'm a writer, so it's a special place in my heart to help out other young writers. There's a girl named Maddie Trubinsky and Catherine Cavas, and they're both incredible, funny writers, and both very, very shy and awkward. So it's that combination that gets me excited because it's like you have the talent, but that's something that I can really help you to like bring you out and how to present your work and how to present to clients and everything. So those are sort of my 2 little projects that I haven't told them about. Just told all of you. Just secretly.
So they'll see it when they see the video. They'll know that they're your project.
My turn? Okay.
Yeah.
There's a female young team at BBDO New York, Lily Bussell and Sarah Cara, which rhymes, so that's cool. I brought Lily on as an intern a couple years ago, and then she worked hard and got herself hired, and they've been working. I actually reached out to them a couple weeks ago and was just like, what's up? Like, is there anything I can do for you? And they said, they've been working on one brand for the last 2 years, and it's like a big, sort of big story brand, a lot of like, emotional, it's a big emotional brand, and they were interested in sort of finding their voice. I think a lot of young creatives are still finding their voice, figuring out what they're good at, and they wanted to touch some comedy stuff, and so they're like, we want to do what you do, like Foot Locker, Snickers, HBO, jokes. And, but they're like, we don't know how to go about it. Like, it's that feeling that you don't want to say you don't like what you're doing because they love working on that big emotional brand thing, but they're getting burnout. I call it like heartfelt shitland. They're like stuck in it, and they just need like a little break. So and I would encourage any of you to do this, but I just sent an email to 3, male creative director teams that run the 3, I did Snickers, Lowe's, and Foot Locker. And I just introduced them and I said, hey, this is a young female team and they're finding their voice, they want to crack a comedy. If you have like a team, like a senior team doesn't have time to like do extensions or funny Vine videos, I'm like, give these girls a chance. Like let them try it. They just want a shot. And started the conversation, and then I go, and now tomorrow, go into those dudes' offices and be like, what's up? I'm Lily and Sarah, like, nice to meet you. And it's not that they don't like working on what they're working on, but it's like, it's just creating that bridge between letting them try new things and find out what they're good at and just keep getting better and better, because more good female creatives is always a good thing, so.
Yeah. And I'm gonna give you guys one pop question that hopefully you can figure something out to say about this, because we have a little time, and then we're going to open it up to you guys to ask them questions. But what's the best piece of advice you would give to one of your mentors if they were in front of you right now about their career?
Mentors and
Mentors or
Mentees, sorry.
I would say just push and ask for things. I think too often younger creatives, especially women, just kind of wait for the senior people to like recognize what they're doing and to reward them and to like just magically know that they want to do comedy, or that they're like feeling ready to switch accounts or ready to move up or feel like they deserve a bump or anything. And it just ask. I like every person, younger person that I work with, I'm just like, ask for things, like ask for cracks at accounts. Like if you, even with regards to your work, if your work isn't going where it wants to go, if it's dying, if it's changing, like push, like ask why and ask how it can be better. But career-wise, seriously, like ask for things that you think like you should feel terrible for asking. That's probably what you should be asking.
Yeah.
Like there's so many times like I've been there too, like younger creators being like, oh, I shouldn't ask for that. Like they probably don't want to give that to me. And it's like, who cares?
All they could say is no.
All they can say
what?
is, yeah, and then they're like, oh, meet you in the middle. And
Yeah.
like negotiation, like I think there's a culture of like wanting to be agreeable and wanting to sort of not bother anybody, and women in particular, like wanting to kind of not ruffle feathers, not wanting to ask for something that you think people want to say no to. And it's just like, God, ask, take it. I mean, yeah, it's yours.
Awesome.
That's a really good answer.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I would say I'm inspired by these young creatives because they're a little bit oblivious, and I think it's good to be oblivious and be brave and, I don't know, just have a little bit of tunnel vision. It's all right. And yeah, ask for the moon. Ask for what you need to stay where you are. Create the job you want.
I just figured out mine. Stop taking everything so damn personally, please. It's not, no one's trying to hurt your feelings. And this is not America's Next Top Best Friend. So stop acting like you just need, well, I don't know, they don't like me, and well, I mean, I don't know, maybe they'll be upset, and I think they didn't invite me to this meeting because I'm just like, get over yourself. I had a junior I used to work with that's now at another agency, and she sent me an email last week like, this project got launched. I worked on it for 5 months. I didn't work on it for the last 2 months, but I worked on it. I designed half of this stuff. And when they put it out on Adweek, they didn't give me credit. What should I do? Should I say something? And she was like, I drafted this email, and it was like, I don't know if this is political or not, but I feel like if you could consider giving me credit for something, I would really, and I was like, X. I was like, delete, 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 delete. Do not send that. I was like, whenever you start an email with I feel like, delete that, and then whatever else comes after, go with that. Like, stop being like, you know, and she was like, well, maybe they felt like I was this or that. And I'm like, no, you worked on this shit. This is your creative. You deserve credit. So she sent the email, and then she did the one, you know, count to 10 and hit send, sends the email, sends me a message later on that night. It's like, they apologized, said they will give me credit, and gave me 2 days off.
The 2 days off is funny.
What? I was like, that was so random,
And
but
don't come in tomorrow.
she probably was
Take
like
a
at home,
personal
like, wait,
day.
am I
Take a personal
finished?
day or two.
But she really did work hard, and you deserve it. So stop like feeling like, oh well, they're all out to get me, and it's my fault.
My advice would be that you get to decide how successful you are. And I think it's really hard for people to figure out what they want. And so figure that out, and then decide where you want to be, and then figure out how you're going to get there.
I love this.
Because it's very, it's always like, well, I think I deserve, and I think it's like, no, just decide, and then just do it. That would be my advice.
Awesome.
Cool. Before we open it up for questions, I've got a question to ask you.
Sure.
That's cool. So I think this went pretty well this past year, right?
Pretty excited about these guys.
Yeah, these guys are pretty cool. I really like them. The One Club would like to know if you want to do this again in 2016?
Yes. I think we
Is
do.
that-
Yeah.
Awesome. That would be great.
So all of you guys as part of our community know that we will be tweeting how you can let us know who you think our next creative leaders should be for 2016. So watch for a tweet for that, because we will be taking nominees. And this is the caliber we're looking for here, so set the bar a little high.
Follow us at One Show and at 3%.
3% comp.
Sweet. Any questions out there? Let's,
There's one over there, and there's one in the.
What do we got? I can't even see anything.
yeah, it's hard to see it.
Okay.
Hello. My question is to go back to crying in the pump room.
Yeah, let's do it.
Sorry to take you all there. I was the employee to the boss crying in the pump room.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering, when women come back into the workforce after being gone, as employees on their team, what is the best way to welcome them back to work?
That's a really good question.
Confetti.
Yeah.
Cake?
A cake that looks like a woman giving birth. A really sweet female creative director at BBDO, who is also a mom, made a huge poster of pictures of my baby and had it on my desk. And she had like tea. She gave me all these little presents when I got to my desk. It was so sweet. I think just recognizing that you've been through a huge life change. I mean, I just got certified to be a lactation consultant. I've been going back to school for that on the side. And I learned that our brains change when we have a baby. Like, we actually start to favor more the right side of our brain, which is great for creatives, but it's why you kind of feel frazzled, and that, like, that left side of your brain, that organization and that, like, getting back into the like sort of technical swing of things is kind of hard. So it's a big adjustment. I would say just doing things to recognize that your employee has changed drastically, that their emotions are going to be running a little bit high, no matter how dead inside you. I mean, I'm like a little dead inside. So like when I came back and was like, I feel something, it was very like shocking to my system. So just recognizing that fact, and if you see a mom feeling overwhelmed, I don't think there's anything wrong with saying, hey, like, dude, like, go on a walk. Like, let me help you out a little bit. Why don't you go take a walk around the block, or take a breath, or go home early, or just, you know, just everyone being flexible and understanding that it is an adjustment, and they might need to duck out a little bit early and see their baby because it's the first week or the first month or the first year or whatever they're feeling. There's all these things. So that would be my advice, and the really graphic birth cake.
Anybody else? Somebody over there.
Hello. Hi.
Hi.
I'm Sharita Frazier. I have another mommy question. I became a mom prior to getting into the industry, and I was in school trying to make my way there. And things that people told me were like, well, now you've just limited yourself in terms of the type of work you can do and the agency you can get in, because you can't do the long nights and the, you know, like going through the grind in the very beginning as a junior creative. So my question is, what advice would you have for moms that are getting into creative in terms of making sure that they could still do awesome work? And then two-part question, in leadership, how can you make room for growth for people like that who are moms getting into creative?
Yeah, that's actually a really tough question because we have this precedent with juniors where it's like, bring your sleeping bag, then it'll be a long one. I mean, that's like been the sort of gold standard in advertising, which if you're a new mom and walking into this business and trying to be that junior that's proving yourself, or if you're not even a junior and you take a new job and there's that proving yourself period, that can be really hard. And I think that starts with management understanding that good creative comes in all kinds of packages. It comes in all kinds of amount of time that you spend making that creative. So, I mean, you can be a super powerhouse creative and that magic can happen in a shorter amount of time. Like, we don't need to be like playing ping pong while we come up with ideas. Like, I think women are very efficient workers, and having management recognize that, and then just as a mom trying to get into this business, being that efficient worker, like putting your head down and really learning how to manage your time so that you can jam pack your day, the day that you do have, work hard, fast, efficient. It's hard. That's something that needs to change, just that expectation of juniors. I think it deters a lot of women from this business. An intern I hired once, I was like talking to her while I was pregnant, and she got real quiet and she's like, should I like not, I want to be a mom, like should I like maybe like not do this job? And I was like, no, please, like we need women that want to be parents or want to have a life outside of work to start setting the precedents that we can make good creative and not work for 24 hours a day, because who is making their best ideas at midnight? Not me.
Yeah. I recently took a training for, like bias and just shit people say regularly that you didn't realize were actually really bad things to say. And so just so you guys know, in case you don't, like no one can actually say to you, like me being recently married, like, oh, I guess you're gonna get pregnant soon. So, that is probably, I'm pretty sure, illegal. Anybody even saying like, well, you have a mom, so you're not going to be as, you are a mom, you're not going to be as committed, illegal. I'm not putting you on projects, or I just didn't want to give you these projects because I know you're a mom and you don't want to have time, illegal. So you need to stand up for yourself and also just make it clear. I feel like people always make motherhood sound like a handicap. Like, well, I'm a mom, so I can't do this. No, that means you can do everything, because like being a mom is like the most hard job. I can't speak English. It is the hardest job ever. So if you can do that, then shit, you can do anything else. So don't go into it like that. Like she's saying, like you don't need to be there 24 hours. You can do 4 hours worth of work and kill it, and then go home and be happy.
Yeah, and it's amazing, like when you do have the balls to stand up for yourself, you weirdly like attract more respect. It's a weird thing, like the less you want something, like the easier it is to get, right? So like the more parameters you set around what you're willing to do, it's like, well, shit, she's like, all right, like she must be worth it. I mean, it's a weird like.
Yeah, it's a power move to leave at 6. You're like, bye.
Yeah.
Like I'm
Drop
done.
the mic.
I did it. It's awesome. Like
Awesome.
like set your own boundaries. Like you don't have to, like everybody struggles with it, but like set your boundaries. Like leave when you're done. Like sign up for UCB. Like do whatever you want. Like get your work done and be proud of it, and don't apologize for doing things outside of work that'll keep you from work. Like I'm super sorry I couldn't answer this email at 9 o'clock. Like I'm a person. So I think like it's really true. The more boundaries you set and the more confidence you have behind it, the more awesome and powerful you look.
I think it's hard though to make peace with the guilt.
For sure, but you
That's
just
something
lie.
that I'm working on. It's like, because I left work at 9:30 last night and left with so much guilt.
Yeah.
And it's like, no, you can leave now. That was enough of that. But I'm just sharing now. But I think that's a big challenge. I mean, it's to be like, okay, like you feel guilty, reason through it. That's okay.
When I was couch surfing, I stayed with 2 nurses. And one day I was like, oh my God, I had the worst day. The client killed this idea, and then this happened, and it was horrible. Ugh. And my other friend was like, yeah, this young mother died. And I was like, well, my day was great. So that puts things in perspective for me all the time. Whenever I'm like, oh my God, I can't leave this project, I'm like, look, no one's gonna die, so see ya.
I think there's one there.
One more.
It's on. There we go. I just wanted to jump on that and ask about like visibility. So when I came back, I struggle with that as well in terms of you may have different hours and you may be like, power move, leaving at 6, but you may be doing the same amount of hours as your coworkers. And like, if you could just talk about that and how you might combat that and be like, yeah, I'm still doing the same amount of hours. I might be leaving at 6, going to get my kid, putting them to bed and coming back online. So.
Yeah, I mean, I think I did that too. I would leave, and it helped me to just kind of let the people working with me around me know that like, hey, like I'm stepping away, or like my partner, we have like a working calendar, like a Google calendar, and there's like blackout times and it's on the calendar, and it's like, in case you're wondering why I'm not responding to email, it's like, this is my time and it's on a calendar. And it's like, that's why. And I made sure to always, and I currently make sure to always have times where I'm checking in for like very, very important things. You know, I'll check my work email, but I pretty much, I mean, I've set my parameters and I fill my schedule with my life after work, and it helped to verbalize it and let people know that like, if you need something, I'll be available, but I won't be available until this time. It's hard. It's like that guilt thing, right?
Yeah.
It's like, it's hard to make yourself do it. If it helps to like actually turn off your work email, that's something I've done before. Yeah.
I think we got like maybe one more question we can squeeze in if somebody has one. Okay.
Okay. You guys spoke a lot about just asking for what you need and what you want, which I totally agree. I think that's brilliant. I'm just curious who, if one or two of you could say, who helped you ask for what you need and want? And for anyone, have you worked with a coach, and did that help you at all get to where you are?
Sure. Yeah. Nancy Vonk was totally like helped me so much, because she just started to put things in a very like business perspective, like you are worth this, so you deserve this. And sort of any time you could just take the emotion out of the situation and just kind of look at it like very practically, that really helped me, and she really helped me figure that out. So anytime I was either going for a review or asking for a raise or dealing with a problem, I would just call her, and she was so, so helpful in helping me stand up for myself and really asking for what I wanted.
One of my mentors is a white Jewish man, older guy, and I absolutely love him because he'll call bullshit on whatever. So when I used to go to him and be like, well, I'm not sure about this, he'd be like, bullshit. That's racist, that's sexist, go ask them, do this, change it. And so once I started channeling my inner white Jewish man, I'm now just able to automatically see like, nope, that's bullshit. And that really helps a lot. Just be a white Jewish man is what I'm saying. Lesson today.
Be my dad. I think he has to come up. I think mine is here. It's Robin Fitzgerald. I won't make her say anything, but she's like a kind genius and has just been so amazing about like encouraging, just ask for stuff and be transparent. I've never seen a coach or anything. I think it's just like, it feels radical to like ask for things and to talk about the things that you feel like you shouldn't talk about, like money. It's so hard to talk about money. Talk about money. Like we all, you know, we should know that stuff. Like we should know that like there's a disparity between like what we're making. You know, like the Sony leak, like that should happen in advertising. It'd be great to see the disparity in salaries. But yeah, Robin has been amazing about asking for things and just like, what's gonna happen? Nothing. And they like know that you want this? Amazing. They should know you want this. Like, it's the worst to just sit passively.
I found out my partner was making more money than me, like early on. And so I got all like worked up and I went in to Jerry Graff, my boss at the time, and I was like, and he's like, why are you so awkward right now? He's like, we're about to talk about money. He's like, this is the only not awkward thing about advertising. It's all numbers. You just ask for what you want. He's like, promise me from now on you will never be awkward about this part. Let's be awkward about fighting for good creative, and let's be awkward about our ideas. But he's like, don't ever be awkward about money. And now I get weirdly like jacked up, excited to go in and ask for more money. It's like a little bit of a like, and do it every year. Like if you're making good stuff you're proud of, ask every year.
Awesome. I think that's it. Thank you so much, you guys. We're really proud of all of you.